Welcome to another Pro Tools quick tip tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about multi-timbral instruments again, but this time we're going to be talking about branching out the separate audio from each instrument into either an aux track in order to place a mix plugin on, or using an audio track to print a stem. I have a few patches loaded, 1 through 3, and then Contact, I have 2 patches loaded. Now let's go ahead and start with Omnisphere. If you go here to the multi page, this is the mixer view more or less in Omnisphere. This is where all the routing happens. You can see channel 1 is MIDI channel 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Here you see the output of the audio. This is going to out A, which is basically 1 and 2, or the main plugin. It typically starts out as A, but you want to change the second one to B. This is basically like saying 3 and 4, C is 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and so on and so forth. So now that that's set up, what we want to do is make sure that we see the pad and celeste coming through 2 separate auxes. So let's go ahead and make 2 stereo auxes. I want to click on Omnisphere so that when I add the new tracks, it puts it right underneath it. And I want to hold down Shift, Option, Command, and click Solo Save so they can be soloed. Let's go ahead and now look at the inputs of the auxes, because we're triggering the MIDI in order to trigger the sounds playing out of Omnisphere, and then those sounds are coming back and hitting these auxes. So the input is what is receiving the audio from this plugin. So hold down Option, Shift, Command, and the input will be plugin, Omnisphere, stereo B, and now, because you're holding down Option, Shift, Command, sequentially puts out stereo C. So strings, comes out the main, pad, comes out stereo B, and celeste comes out stereo C. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Contact. Go into your output section. Here I have mine labeled already, and if yours doesn't come up like this, it's usually showing a few stereo tracks and then a 5.1, then some auxes. So this is what I do in order to get around that. I say add channels, I say 16, I say number of channels 2. Number of channels means stereo. If I said 1, it would make mono. If I said 6, it would be a 5.1. We want to start with the very first channel, and we're going to send the outputs. That way it sequentially labels them all out accordingly. We want to delete the current setup, make this your new configuration so that next time it opens, it's going to default to what you just now did. Now, since I already have mine this way, I'm going to say cancel, but go ahead and do it for yourself. When you do this, it's going to want to have you start the program over again so that Pro Tools can see the new outputs of this plugin. So now that you've rebooted and you have this assignment correct, let's go over here to Contact and let's create another aux track, since we only have one more instrument. Stereo, aux, Command click, and now same kind of thing. We want to go ahead and say plugin, Contact, stereo 2. I had mine already changed for something else, but this is typically how it will always come out as a default when you load in an instrument. The output and the MIDI. So the MIDI is correct. 1 is piano, 2 is mark. And so now what we want to do is put them out separate auxes. So the giant is going out the first one. Perfect. Now what the second one needs to do is go out the second stereo, or 3 and 4. So now when I play the mark, it will go ahead and come out aux 3. So that's how you work with multi-timbral instruments in order to place your own mixing plugins from other third-party companies on aux tracks, or making an audio track in order to record stems out of each instrument.